Hi, I'm Danny Cobden, and today I'm joined by one of our leading sales agents, Peter Gordon.
G'day Danny, g'day everyone.
So Peter, how would you surmise the current market?
The current market's actually pretty good. There's been obviously some negative press out there. What I think we're seeing some great results across the board. One of the things that I think is probably a really key trend that we've seen in the last month is the volume of sales is right down. We're nearly half of what was sold same period last year is selling now. There's 90 odd transactions in July last year in our core area, down to about 45 this year.
But having said that, we have had some great results over the last month, so did you want to talk us through some of those?
Yeah, the market at a sort of ground level doesn't actually feel too bad. We've seen some really good, strong results. We're getting great traction through our open home, seeing lots of buyers out and about. I think one of the key characteristics that we're finding with all those properties that we're finding sort of standing out as being the most successful sales, they all tend to be your double fronted, decent sort of block of land, classic sort of family type homes. There've been some standout sales this month. We had a great result down at Short Street in Birchgrove. One of the other guys, Andrew, had a terrific result at auction on Llewellyn Street in Balmain. One at Clayton Street we sold. There's been a couple of others. I sold 106 Mansfield Street, Rozelle, a bit over 1.7. Really strong results.
And that 1.5 to 2 price range, which most of those sales fall within, it has been particularly strong, hasn't it?
People who are buying these properties are upsizing, typically moving locally. So maybe selling, your smaller two-bedroom terrace, which is still holding up pretty well at the moment as well. Your sort of 2 to 3 bedroom terraces, anything sub $1 million. First home buyers still around. We're seeing some investors, which is good. They're buying the smaller stuff, then moving up and seeing some good competition for the bigger family type properties. Yeah.
In terms of the premium sector of the market, there have been some good sales in recent times. But interestingly, when you look back at the sales that were really successful, invariably they were properties that sold in the first 4 to 6 weeks. And indeed we had some terrific results in that sector of the market. One standout was a parcel of waterfront land in Alexander Street that sold for just below $6 million. We had good, strong competitive interest on that.
Danny, the point you're making around timing is that be it a smaller apartment, an entry-level first home buyer type property, right through to the top end, pricing and sales strategy really critical in terms of timing. So even your bigger top end stuff should really be getting the right sort of interest in a result within that sort of 6-week time frame.
Look, absolutely. And indeed, there are a number of properties that are presently on the market, not necessarily with our agency, that have been on the market for a prolonged period, where the differential in pricing compared to where they started to where they are now is really quite significant.
So the value of the property hasn't necessarily changed at all, but it's just in terms of where they come onto the market as to where they trade at the time.
Absolutely, and you can only launch a property once, and it's critical to get it right at the start.
One of the key things that I like to look at the moment is probably where the best buying opportunities are. If you're a buyer that's in the market at present. We're seeing some real strength from investors and first home buyers at sort of sub-$1 million stock. Your classic 2-bedroom terraces, still selling really well. The people who are tending to sell those ones, your young couples starting families and what have you, are then going on to buy the properties we spoke about earlier, your double-fronted family type cottages. The stuff that's sort of sitting in the middle in that sort of early $1 million price range, the stuff that I guess traditionally has appealed more to your empty nesters and people coming back the other way. That's probably the sector of the market that's got the best value at the moment. So if you're a buyer in the market at that sort of price point, some real opportunities there at the moment. I think as we get into spring, we get towards the further into the traditional selling period, there'll be more buyers around for those properties. So I suggest that dynamic might change.
So Pete, what's your advice to people that are gearing up to sell in 2011?
Spring is going to get off to a start relatively soon. We've done more sort of listing appointments and appraisals and things like that in the last week than we probably did in the preceding 6 weeks or thereabouts. My sense is that stock is going to come on pretty quickly. We're going to see the spring market should get off to a start in probably another month or so. And traditionally I think you look back on the same time last year and look back on the way the cycle works. The prospective vendors who get in early and they make the most out of that traditional selling period, they're the ones who tend to do better. As you get towards sort of October, November, stock levels build. There's properties that sit on the market that haven't necessarily sold and things can slow down a bit then. So best advice I've got to a prospective seller, get in early, get a result and move on, I guess. That's
great advice, Pete. So in summary, if you're planning on selling in 2011, I think Pete's advice about getting in early is great advice. But also equally as critical is getting the right pricing advice, because things aren't all bad out there, but it just all depends on getting the process set up correctly at the start.
Have a strategy, have a plan, work to it, and you'll get a great result.
On behalf of Pete Gordon and myself, Danny Cobden, thanks very much, and we look forward to chatting with you again soon.